such a fun thing to message everybody you know and ask them what books remind them of you.
Also terrifying.
Yes, very terrifying. Uh, but so when I came back and I was like, that's really, really sweet that you see me that way. That's so adorable.
Most of them were nice in some way or another, which is
Yeah.
good. I was really scared, honestly, for the responses.
I got a mix of like my mom, a brother, some friends, and like friends that have known me like since I was little to now, and it's actually really funny because some people took it like real seriously, and others were just like, yeah, like maybe this.
Yeah, my mom never got back to me.
Oh,
I had one person kind of say no,
okay,
uh, which was fine. But then otherwise, it was like a blend of kind of like people from like different facets of life too, which was interesting to just
yeah,
kind of see like the different lenses people had and then like different lengths of knowing people.
yeah. I've also noticed there's a very big theme with me that all my friends just find me really loyal, which is so sweet.
That's so nice. It could be
I
worse.
know. Yes. I actually want to start with my mom's because, well, she's known me since I was little, and I know, but I was like, I'm gonna start from
Sure.
the beginning
Yeah.
of my life and the people who like knew me growing up. So my mom and my brothers are funny because, like, my mom, her answer was she also doesn't read a lot, but she's a para and she like reads a lot of like little kid books and like all of that to them, which I think is so sweet. And she said that she really was stuck between Disney princess stories and Winnie the Pooh. And her reasoning behind them, I literally almost like teared up. I'm going to just read it because it's so cute. She said, I think the Disney princesses is where you learn to read and spark your interest in reading, just like Belle. You're determined and always have your nose in a book. Besides, you were our little princess. She's like, and then she brought up a memory from the first time I went to Disney. And granted, this was when I was a teenager. So it's really funny. She's like, I'm still really sad that you didn't get to meet them when you went to Disney because all I wanted was a picture with Belle and the Beast. And I went into the line and they thought I was like too enthusiastic. And they're like, no, like they like told me they're like, this is the end of the line. I'm like, this is the only time I might ever get to Disney, which isn't true. But I thought that at the time. And they were like, sorry, this is the end of the line. And I was like devastated that I would never get a picture. So she was like, I'm still so sad that never happened. Anytime I think of a Disney story, I think of you. This next one is very heartwarming. She goes, but I also do the same with Winnie the Pooh. You don't give yourself enough credit for how great of a person you are, always helping, always caring, and always trying to do better. Braver than you think, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Also, more loved than you'll ever know. And then she goes, don't know if this helps, but I'm not much of a reader. Must must have skipped a generation because my grandma like she read smutty books of that generation, but
Many people say.
yeah, which I do too. It's like,
Um,
isn't that adorable?
so cute. I was feeling a little teary-eyed. Also, I think it's insane that Disney thought you were too enthusiastic and would let you in line. I didn't realize that was like a thing.
Well, it was like I probably did look like a little bit crazy, but I like literally so it was in I think it was in like Epcot or something, and I was like in a certain when I saw him over the bridge and I literally was running over the bridge to try to get there, I, like left all my friends. And it was just like so excited to like finally get a picture. I felt like I was living all my dreams. I was also there for like a band related thing. So you would think that that would have changed things, but
Well, yeah, I feel like people run all over that park for like that rope drop. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's not the craziest thing they've ever seen.
I think it was probably more that it was the end of the line and they weren't adding any people, but
Oh,
it seemed like I was probably like, yeah, I guess I'm a teenager who's really exaggerating that they do
no,
this in their life. So
but there's like Disney adults that I'm sure do stuff like that too.
yeah,
So,
I was just really excited.
anyways, well, you should be. It's so fun to like see a
I
character
know.
because you never know where they're. Well, most people don't know where they're gonna be. So it just feels like so special when you come across them at Disney.
I literally stopped mid sentence and just left my friends when I saw them.
That's
So
fair.
yeah. So that's where my mom came from. And it was really funny. So then I did ask all my siblings. And of course, they were just like, all I read is sci fi. I don't know how I can relate this to you. And So one of my brothers, he came back and he also brought up a book from our childhood, which it was these like, you had like this Lion King book and it was all the different Disney books, but this one it had like the noise that went with them.
Oh.
And so they were like really funny. And he's like, all I can think of is the Lion King one. And we'd always press the Rafiki button and go like a squash banana. And he's like, I was like, oh my God, that's such a core memory.
I love that though.
And then he was like, but also like, obviously you're a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, if anyone is, he's like, all you do is watch Harry Potter when you're home and like facts. And then he said something sweet too. He said, if my memory was any good, I'd say a book with a character who is unconditionally kind and reliable to their friends and family, someone who makes sacrifices for the people they love and deserves all the love and kindness in return for being such a caring person. Also, a character who probably doesn't think they deserve that and is modest about it. But all their friends know that, so they don't let them get away with not being loved. Probably a sassy character, maybe one with more responsibilities than they want to have, and secretly just wants to be left alone. Someone who laughs at everything, even really stupid shit.
We have very different rationales. Yours is like so pure and wholesome.
My brother, even really stupid shit, which is true because I laugh at everything. So,
Yeah. Well, Dino, next time my dad wants to tell me a bunch of dad jokes, I'll give him your number. So
yeah, you should. I would laugh at it.
he has multiple books of them.
I love dad jokes. All right. Going into more of the friend area of things. So the first person who actually responded to me was she said that I reminded her of Penelope from the Bridgerton series.
Oh.
And she was like,
Lady. Oh my God, why?
yeah, why can't I think of it?
Lady Whistledown.
Whistledown. Yes.
Whistledown.
So it was, she's a little more quiet and in the background, or so you think. She's really the main character and is insanely smart and witty. And she is a great friend who loves with her whole heart. And she had the best glow up. And I think like you have, and I feel like you've had a glow up rebranding of who you are in your 30s. Not that you weren't glowing, you just shine even brighter. And then she goes, one thing is though, you would not have tolerated some Colin shit.
All of the Bridgerton men are like so aesthetically pleasing, but just like fuckboys to the bottom.
She's like, you would not have put up with that.
No, they're all idiots on top of it.
Yeah.
Benedict, perhaps,
has
like a crumb of a brain.
Yeah.
But like Anthony and Colin.
Another friend said Kingdom of Wicked books because I'm the one that introduced them and borrowed them to them, which, I mean, I'm glad that that makes them think of me because they should.
Sure.
The same friend also said if she had to pick like a true book that has like the feeling of me, she would say The Spell Shop because it's more mugs of hot cocoa, which feels like me as a person, which I thought was so cute. And then this one I think is the funniest, and I'm just gonna shout it out. It was my cousin Britt. So she obviously is a new mom, so I didn't want her to like have to think about it too much. And she sends me a book, and she goes, the title is, I don't even know what this book is, and it says "Dirty Sexy Sinner" because of the title. #HoFace. And I was like, Brit. And she's like, but it also just makes me think of grandma and all of her books where it would have like the men and like we would like see those in our house where it's like all of the like chiseled abs and all of that. So she's like, that obviously makes me think of you.
I think I die. Also, I was dying when you were like, she's obviously a new mom. That's only obvious to you, me, and maybe like 2 people who listen to this.
True. But she is a new mom and I didn't want her to have to think about it, but that was the first response that she gave, and so it's like, great, I love it. It's so her character too. One of my other friends brought up a book that I actually haven't read. It's called Auntie Mame.
Oh my gosh, I've seen that movie.
There is a movie of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, like very old.
Yes.
I've seen it. She is a
Yes.
fucking diva.
Yeah.
Like in the best way.
Can you guess who it was that did that?
Katie.
No, it was Ben.
I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for not guessing him now, but we can talk about it in the closet in October, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. So he actually went back to like a letter he wrote me for my birthday in 2020, which was so sweet. And he had said, after reading that, I immediately thought of this book. Well, you may not be a carbon copy of Auntie May, you embody her spirit. No other character would be so fashionable as to wear that yellow dress, which he's talking about when I wore when I was in high school. He's like, which I will argue until my death is one of the best things you've ever worn. Oh, or so adventurous as to find herself on a road trip with almost no idea as to where she was going. She's also extremely sassy, kind, and generous, just like you. So that was from Benjamin, which I was like, also now I really want to read this book.
I had no idea it was a book.
It is, yeah. It's not even that long. It's like 300 pages.
I mean, that would make sense. It wasn't a very long movie. So.
Okay, great. And then one of my other friends just brought up a couple of different characters and how they embodied like me as a person. So one of them was Hermione Granger, because smart, resourceful, and deeply loyal to her friends and loved ones. Jo March, devoted to her family and unafraid to stand up for them while remaining true to herself. Feyre, a lover of art with a fiercely loyal and determined personality that blends romance and adventure. She's also a badass, and so are you. And then this one I found is interesting because a few people I feel like said this is Elizabeth Bennet, a romantic at heart, but won't settle for anything less than true love. And those were all mine. I mean, we still have Breeze, but I figured we could go through ours together since she put a lot of them.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's all
Well, I feel like
so what were the themes? Loyal, determined, family, all those.
yours were just all so like wholesome and pure.
I know. I almost cried anytime anyone sent it to me. I was like, oh.
I feel like the rationale that we each got say so much about us as well. Like the difference in.
I want to know yours now.
So all of these are friends from different circles and different lengths of knowing people. So the first one said, the devil wears Prada and maybe you should talk to someone. And she said the devil wears Prada because like fashionable, like Annie's fashionable and put together, and like I usually am. Not usually on this podcast, but
I think of that too. I was like, on this podcast, I'm like literally just wearing the most comfortable thing I can find.
Yeah. So don't judge on that. And then she put, it also reminded me or her of me because when I moved to Chicago, I worked at an ad agency. And then she was like, we also have discussed that Nate is the true villain.
Yeah.
So, which, yeah, he is. And then she said, maybe you should talk to someone because of my sense of humor and observations, along with like the authors. And she was like, the author had such hilarious insight on people. She would just laugh out loud, which she smart laughs at a lot of things I say.
Mm-hmm.
So those were from one person. One of my best friends from college said the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because
interesting.
Because what's her face? Lucy?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why that like throws me off that that's her name. She's a smart, strong woman that's able to figure anything out. She's into fashion and has outfits that make her stand out. She's an artist with music, and I'm an artist through dance. She cares about family and friends and helping others and is overall a good soul. And she tells it like it is and cares about honesty.
I think that's so true.
Yep. I mean, none of these are wrong.
No, that's a really good one.
Yeah. And then another friend said A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I hope this finds you well, and A Court of Silver Flames. And she said A Good Girl's Guide to Murder because the main character goes so hard on her project that she solves a murder. So like the tenacity.
Okay, but you for sure would. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. That's so good.
And then she said, I hope this finds you well, because the main character gets so annoyed with coworkers that she starts writing notes at the bottom of emails in white font. And that just seems like something you would do if pushed too hard by certain people. And then she said a court of silver flames because Nesta trains like a badass, and so do you.
Yeah.
Which I've always identified with Nesta personally, so
You're fully a Nesta.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's no really wiggle room on that.
No.
So those are my...
But also being like an oldest. I mean, sometimes you just like can relate to Nesta, but you like fully.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just like fully relate to her.
Also, you would have been the one that's like, yeah, I took dance classes and I'm like really good at this.
So those are my non-Brie books from people.
Okay. Brie, I feel like I need to give up the whole entire document.
I have it up because I was like, there's so much. So our friend Brie, who we love so much and miss, and can't wait for her to move back here this summer.
She'll probably be like on the podcast as soon as she's
Most
here.
likely.
Yeah.
She wrote us the most thoughtful,
So cute
books. Like, I was so emotional just over the level. I mean, not that other people didn't put thought into it too, but this was like,
she gave me themes.
Yes. Themes, essays, like side notes.
Yeah.
Just so amazing. So shout out to you. We love you. Embassy. Do we want to like backdoor in and start with the ones that reminded her of both of us?
Yeah, let's do it.
So that theme was crisscross applesauce.
Which was like so cute.
I know. I was like, this is adorable. And she put House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune.
Yeah.
Which you're obsessed with. So that also is just fitting.
I know.
There.
Do you want me to read a rationale?
Yeah.
Okay. Both of these ladies are so good at making people feel welcomed and loved. They bring together all kinds of people and have the ability to make people around them feel special. Which is so sweet.
It's also hilarious because I feel like that's not something I hear a lot from people.
Stop. Okay, Kirsten, in work, literally all you do is like bring us all together.
Yeah, once I like know people, or it's a very like defined setting, but like out in the wild, absolutely not my first impression.
Well,
but I'm very touched. Like, I enjoy it. And then she did put a side note, which we'll like expand upon in a minute, Midnight Library and Book Lovers, she kind of flagged for me, but she said they also give her Kaylee vibes for similar reasons as what was, I'm assuming, listed above in this section.
yes.
But so maybe she just, whatever. My first theme is badassery. And the books are Midnight Library and Book Lovers, which also Midnight Library keeps popping up in my life. So I feel like that needs to move up on my TBR.
Oh, this one's on both of ours.
Yeah, so that makes more sense because I was like, does she mean the crisscross applesauce reasons or not? So great, same overlap. So she said, rationality's books remind me of Kirsten because they both had strong, independent, book-loving female leads. In the case of Midnight Library, our heroine, Nora Seed, shows extreme bravery in the face of adversity, but she continues on in search of finding peace and happiness. I get Kirsten vibes from this book because both of these ladies don't just accept things as they are, but are willing to do the hard work to change their fortune. Book Lovers is about a hardworking, career-driven woman who loves books, Offie. Nora Stevens takes no one's crap and is fine putting her career over love any day. Kirsten vibes not because of the character's actions or behavior per se, but more from an attitude of I can do anything and watch out world. And then she puts, I know how weird these characters have the same name and initials. Definitely didn't plan that.
She has that on mine too. So she had like all the same stuff, but I actually think badassery is like way more you than me. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, your opinion doesn't count here, which is why we asked other people for theirs.
Exactly. Because if it was me, I would have been like, nobody.
Or you would have just stopped it. We both like books.
Yeah, exactly. My first theme is Who Runs the World Girls. Love it. The book is Lessons in Chemistry. Rationale is first the cover is the vibe. See below. So cute. Funky yet sophisticated in all the best ways, which reminds me of Kaylee. Second, the FMC Elizabeth Zott is incredible, also just like Kaylee. She marches to the beat of her own drum, faces challenges head on, and makes the most delicious lemonade out of the lemons life throws at her. I see a lot of overlap in that attitude between Elizabeth and Kaylee. So that was my first scene.
The cover is a vibe. I just haven't looked at it.
She does say here, side note, honorable mention / Kirsten overlaps and their rationales also for this category below in crisscross. I love that it's like a maze of
I know.
side note.
It is like a flow chart of like.
All right, what's your next speak?
Oh no, I went to yours too. Okay. Theme number 2 is Once Upon a Fantasy.
Ooh.
And books are Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, From Blood and Ash / Flesh and Fire series by Jennifer Armentrout, and The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, which I've never heard of those.
Oh.
So then rationale, she put, I really feel like no further explanation needed, but for the listener's sake, ... She put Harry Potter, our generation and likely those to come, grew up on it. For many, it is a core part of their childhood and may have helped shape them in some way. Kirsten vibes because, like the books, she has captured the heart of anyone she meets and we can't help but fall in love with her.
Aww.
And then she put From Blood and Ash / Flesh and Fire. That's so many shushes.
Yeah, you're shushing all of them. I'm sorry.
She put, I think this was one of the first books / series Kirsten and I really started talking about when we, oh my god, now series on. We're losing the plot. I think this was one of the first books / series Kirsten and I really started talking about when we both discovered our mutual book interests. So I'll always associate these with Kirsten. Much like the books have lovable characters and exciting adventures, Kirsten is the same way, totally lovable and an adventure you don't want to miss. And then she put, side note, that last line felt like I was writing a bio for your dating profile or something. Hit me up if you need a PR person. And I always need a PR person, so
I love it. And that actually be great to have as a person that writes a dating site for.
I think that would be amazing.
That's perfect.
And then she put The Lunar Chronicles. They're classic fairy tale retellings with a fun twist. Who doesn't love that? Fairy tales will never go out of style or fade away, and for this reason, I am reminded of Kirsten.
Aww.
I was like,
that's so sweet. I love that. Okay. My theme number 2 is Baby, You're So Classic. Her names are so cute. Books. First one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
Obviously.
The second one that she brought up is The Great Gatsby, which
Obviously.
I brought up. And then Death on the Nile, which I thought was interesting. Which I've brought up all of these.
All of these are so you. So
for Pride and Prejudice, she said, sophistication at its silliest. This book and its characters have remained a favorite of the masses for a reason. It is the perfect balance of class, sophistication, and straight-up ridiculousness. Kaylee totally gives me Elizabeth Bennet vibes. She is the level-headed yet opinionated person in the group that everyone relies on. She knows how to have fun and puts family above all else. Side note, did not mean to have all these Elizabeth FMCs overlap. And then for The Great Gatsby, she put, while she may be sophisticated and level-headed, there has to be a dash of drama just to keep it interesting. Not that Kaylee is dramatic, but I feel like there's always a little spice in her atmosphere from others, and what book says drama more than this? Also, fashion. The characters in this book are the pinnacle of literary fashion, and Kaylee has great style. Thanks, Brave. That's so sweet. Death on the Nile is a close second in my mind when it comes to books with fabulous style is Death on the Nile. Super rich people on the Nile cruise living it up. Yes, please. Also a little mysterious intrigue. And again, we get Kaylee. There is an element of mystery to my girl, so keep reading, folks. She's
Cute.
so cute. I love how much time she put into this.
I know.
We should have had her like write our episodes.
Okay, theme number 3, which will be my last one because then the next one's crisscross applesauce, which is
It's my last one too.
yeah. Is You'll Be History. And I think this is my favorite one that she wrote for me.
Yeah.
So she put books, really any good middle-aged historical fiction, more of this genre in general gives Kirsten vibes. And then her rationale is, I know how much Kirsten enjoys the War of the Roses and Tudor time frame, and they give powerful, uncompromising vibes. So throwing this whole subgenre in here.
That is perfect for you. Also, I love how it has like little elements of just like what we like what we read and what we really enjoy too. Where it's like mine are like classics and
Mine are unhinged.
yours is history.
It's
I mean, also those classics are unhinged.
Unhinged historical fiction.
Yes. I love my last one mostly because it's where like everything started from like a book perspective for Brie and myself. So the last one is just all things SJM, where it says Throne of Glass series by SJM are really all her stuff. And the rationale is, I really don't think there is much to say here. This is how Kaylee and I bonded, so this series or any SJM book will always remind me of Kaylee. Listen, when you can trauma bond over Gabrielle's death and so many other things, you forge a connection that no one else can understand. We will never get over it, which is true. I'm devastated.
2 days ago, one of the first videos I saw coming back from the like very temporary TikTok ban was someone who had just read this for the first time and posted the like quotes of Adian and Gabrielle's like last moments together to emotion, and I was like, get fucked, people. Like,
it's like seriously something I will never get over.
That was one of the hardest hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh.
And Brie and I talked about it forever, and I'm like,
sure,
I'm never gonna get over it. So
no, and I can never dwell on it because otherwise, like, you just think about like the bone crushing, like how excited Gabrielle was to like finally meet Adian, and Adian just like hated his guts like up until like
yeah, like
devastating.
We were screaming in the office at the top of our lungs over this. Like
Unwell.
He deserved so much more.
100%. He was like the best of them.
I know. And you could just see him getting so excited. And then he really did it for his son too. But like still, I was just like, no.
Yeah, because he was like Adian Liv, basically.
Yeah.
And then just like, and then the way she wrote, like Adian seeing like, and then that golden light was snuffed out and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like,
yeah. So we trauma bonded over that. Definitely.
Amazing news.
Still not okay.
No.
Never gonna be okay.
No, absolutely not.
But Brie, thanks for putting all of that together. It was so sweet, and I like definitely was teary-eyed just reading all of the different like themes and all of the like thoughtfulness that she put into that. Of course, like she went above and beyond just like you would have of like, I'm gonna put themes and categories, and so
I'm gonna make 5 mood boards for
yeah.
concept.
Here's the color concept. Here's the vibe I get. So,
and I'm not there yet, but soon. Well, thank you to everyone that participated because it definitely was one, fun for us, I think, just to see what people would say back. But 2, I know like this would be a huge feat if someone asked me to do this. So like taking the time to think about everything you've read and how that aligns with that person and what part you want to focus on. And
I know.
And it was nice, just everyone like took it seriously too, which was like also thoughtful.
It's also just like, I know, because even when I was looking at all this, I was like, what would I think of for people that I know in my life? And sometimes when I am reading, I'll be like, oh, this reminds me of so-and-so so much. But I never like remember after I'm done reading. I could never go back and be like, oh, it's for sure this person.
I also feel like it's one of those questions where, like, one, if I like took the time to think about it, I probably could. But you know how if someone asks you something and everything just like leaves your brain?
Yes.
I feel like if someone is off the cuff asked me, like every book I ever read would flee my mind.
Oh, for sure.
And I'd be like,
Well, there's also the pressure of, and this, like, I was talking to, like, Brit in all seriousness. Like, obviously, what she sent was more, like, funny and in memory of our grandma. But, like, she was like, it's just so much pressure because I just want to say, like, the absolute best. Like, she's like, I want to, like, encapsulate you, and I can't think of what that is. And I was like, no, the one you sent is perfect because it's hilarious. And, like, it is our grandma. Like, my grandma read all of, I remember reading one of her books, and it was one that didn't have, like, the chiseled abs on the front, and it was like,
naked man.
yeah, it was like this nice little scenery, and it looked like a summer book, and I read it, and I was like, "This is not what I should be reading."
But I feel like your grandma's so pivotal. Like you just tell so many stories about her. So even though it was like kind of whimsical and fun, like it
Yeah.
still was like such a great snippet of
Yes,
you and your like shaping.
absolutely. And it actually made me think about both my grandmas and how they really do have an influence on my reading as an adult, because I read a lot of smutty books from our grandma, my Brit's. And my other grandma, like, reads a lot of, like, thriller, like, she always watched a lot of, like, true crime, and so I feel like a lot of that has come into my reading as an adult too, which is interesting.
Sure has.
Yeah. So I was like, weird, I never thought about that. But yeah, thanks, grandmas. So
Stay smutty.